Legends and Parables of India. Tonic for Immortality. This happened thousands of years ago. The Bodhisatt-va, the soul that was to later manifest as the Buddha, had been born in a town near Vara-nasi. Known as Nagarjun, he was the minister to the king of a small kingdom. Nagarjun was dearly loved by the king and revered by all for his wisdom and compassion. He was a versatile genius. He had profound knowledge even in matters of medicine. Once while he was away from his home, his son fell seriously ill. Nagarjun was late in reaching home. He could not save the boy. The death of the son not only proved a great shock to him, but also made him wonder if there was no cure for death. He devoted all his time to the study of all the treatises on medicine. He toured the Himalayas consulting sages and seers. At last he evolved a formula for preparing a tonic that would make man immortal. The process was long and expensive, for numerous rare herbs had to be collected. But Nagarjun had for his patron the king. He did not lack in funds or assistance. When his effort was about to be successful, Indra, the king of the gods, sent the brothers Ashwini Kumar, physicians to the gods, to dissuade Nagarjun from going ahead with his experiment. The two brothers met Nagarjun and told him, "Zero-wise minister, how do you dare to go against the providential scheme of birth and death? Is it not an unholy effort? If there is nothing unholy in trying to save a man from disease, I don't see anything unholy in trying to save a man from death," replied Nagarjun. The two physicians of gods went back disappointed. Indra was quite upset. He did not wish man to become immortal like the gods. He assumed the form of an old Brahmin and met the king's son, the crown prince. "My young lord, do you know what Nagarjun is doing?" the disguised Indra asked. "Yes. He is doing something great. He is preparing a tonic that would make man immortal," replied the crown prince. "And you call that great? Young man, don't you see your own misfortune in this? If your father becomes immortal, can you ever ascend the throne? You'll remain the crown prince forever, never wearing the crown," said the Brahmin scoffingly. This set the ambitious prince to think, was he destined to be deprived of the throne? What should he do? "I'll tell you what you should do. Nagarjun, as a rule, never refuses a thing just before sitting for dinner. You watch for that moment and ask him for his head. With Nagarjun dead, the king top would die," said the Brahmin. The prince went to Nagarjun just when he was about to sit down for dinner. "I've to ask something of you. Will you promise to give it to me?" he asked. "I promise. What is it that you need?" "Your head," replied the prince. Without the slightest hesitation, Nagarjun handed out his own sword to the prince and asked him to behead him. The prince struck Nagarjun with the sword, but to no effect, as Nagarjun's neck was hard as steel by the virtue of the tonic he used to take. But Nagarjun himself applied a certain ointment to the sword and asked the prince to try again. In the meanwhile, the king heard about what the prince was doing. He came rushing to the spot. But the prince beheaded Nagarjun before the king could stop him. With Nagarjun's death, the formula for the tonic of immortality was forgotten. Sorrow made the king abdicate the throne. The prince, of course, became the king. This story was published in January 1983 Chandamama Monthly.